the nominees. All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to our next conversation. An election is much more than balloting. It is a reflection of the people's will. Poised to uphold this, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is 99% ready for the Anambra State governorship election on the 8th of November. The assurance follows a week-long review of logistics, security and field operations. Responding to stakeholders' appeal, INEC has extended the collection of permanent voter cards PVCs to Sunday, the 2nd of November. Meanwhile, the new INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amokpiton, SAN, has stated that a key priority of his tenure will be reduction of the number of pre-election litigations, with INEC contending with over 1,000 pre-election cases in the lead-up to the 2023 general elections. Professor Amokpiton emphasized the need for a stronger internal party democracy, improved compliance with electoral guidelines, and early dispute resolution mechanisms to minimize such cases in future elections. All right, Biko, I'll start with you here, because when INEC says that it is 99% ready for the election, talk to me, what specific criteria and are they using to justify this claim of 99% ready for Anambra State elections?
Yes, the electoral body has conducted a week-long readiness assessment tour of all parts of the state. Apart from that, they also tested the bimodal voter authentication system, BVAS. During week time, some glitches, some network glitches were recorded. These things happen even on election day, but there are no problems that cannot be fixed. So INEC has also, just in the desire of the INEC chairman to ensure that no voter in Anambra State is left behind, INEC also extended the collection of PVCs from October 29 to November the 2nd. This is to enable people pick up their PVCs ahead of the November 8th election. So, and the INEC chairman has been having meetings with strategic stakeholders with the desire to identify problems, logistical hiccups, and as well as hiccups related to security, because that is a state where non-state actors are very active. Those who enforce sit-at-home and cultists who kill people for fun, they are very active in that state. So the NSA was among the strategic stakeholders that had a meeting with the INEC chair on preparations for a seamless, free, fair, and credible elections. So I think that at this point, the chairman is convinced that all that they need to do, they have a good grip on all that they need to do, and that was what made them to say we are 99% ready. But in situations where you rely so much on technology, anything can happen. Some of the best pieces of technology are known to have failed even at the last minute. So we cannot say that the election would not suffer any kind of hiccup or that there won't be glitches. What we can do is to simply wait till election day to see whether all the promises that the INEC has made will be fulfilled. We want to see on election day that ballot materials are brought to polling stations in good time. We want to see the beavers work excellently on election day, because if the beavers, as the electronic, which is the electronic accreditation module, works efficiently on election day, it means that that election has already passed the test of integrity. So I would rather be patient to see that the usual problems we experience on election day in our country are dealt with on election day. Let us see whether there will be an improvement over the last election, for example. Then the issue of mobilization. Political parties have their own roles to play. They have to help INEC in the area of mobilization and education, voter education, so that we can have more people come out to vote this time around than we saw during the last governorship election in Anambra State. All of this, voter turnout and the solid performance of the beavers, are things that will make people see the election as a resounding success. So we are waiting to see whether INEC will be able to fulfill all of the promises that it has made. But we won't write INEC off at this point. Let us hope that they will be able to fulfill their promise and the people's votes will count. That is what we want to see.
All right, Asuko, now, Wiki has mentioned some issues, okay? Yeah, 99%, but we still have 1%, you know, for the small. But how will INEC ensure that issues like late arrival of materials, malfunctioning, malfunctioning of accreditation devices, and even staff absenteeism, how do you think, how will INEC ensure that these things are managed, you know, effectively?
I think Vicky actually mentioned one, which is the technical part. You know, we are humans. Sometimes we fall sick, and technology also sometimes can also fail.
Yes.
You know, but from what INEC has said, that they are 99% ready, we won't write them off, but we believe that they have put everything in place to make sure that technology does not fail them on that day. And that is what we are hoping, you know, that there was a time that they said, beavers actually failed some people in previous election. And it wasn't that it failed completely, because there were some people that beavers could not capture their, you know, their faces, but it captured other people. So something might have happened in between, but it is technology. It is just like our cars. You can even start, you know, you warm your car, you say you are going out, and then eventually it will stop on the road. You know,
even with the ATM.
You know, so ATM sometimes happen. You know. So, but we are hoping that it will happen like that. Now, for the ones that I feel that INEC should be able to solve, which is lateness of materials and all that. Now, there was a time in this that we had election, and INEC was owing ad hoc staff. You know, they had a protest. So I think that one too, that one is not mechanical. It is human.
It's something that can be sorted out days before, okay, and make sure that nobody is being owed, especially the ad hoc staff, the NYSC, you know, the core members that will be working, you know, for during the election, as well as even the major stakeholders, which is the NURTW that will be taking, you know, these non-sensitive materials to the polling units. They all have to be paid on time, so that a driver does not say they did not pay me. That is why I can't buy fuel a day before or 2 days before for me to be able to take materials to the polling unit. So there are so many small things. Security as well.
I know, even security too. You know, they need to be taken care of, and I think that is why the NSA is also part and parcel of the, you know, strategic stakeholders. You know, that are trying to see that this election, there's nothing that people will say that, oh, they rigged this election or there was a particular issue. INEC is giving us 99%, and people are already thinking about 99%. So it means that they have to outdo themselves to make sure that that 1% doesn't, you know, rub off negatively on the 99%. Because we don't know what the 1% is. Perhaps they are leaving that 1% for other things. But the 99% is what we are looking at now. Adult staff have to be paid on time. The logistics, those in charge of logistics, which is the NURT, the RTEA, all those who are carrying the sensitive materials have to be, be on ground to make sure that they are being paid. Because if that is done, we should be able to get to this 99%. And beavers, I keep saying it, beavers as well as transmission of election results. People are hoping that will be done. I don't know if the current INEC chairman, because he has said he's coming up with so many promises, and people are hoping that he will change the wheel. We are hoping that at least we will see something that every result is being transmitted.
But is it fair to say that, the way Professor Amopiton manages this Anambra election as his first litmus that they will judge him by?
No, well,
is it fair?
It's just just 2 weeks. Let's say it has 2 weeks. So what he will be looking at is to review whatever they are going to do in Anambra. But we can say this is his first election. Yes. But we will not count it on him. Because right now, he's just saying, okay, fine, you guys have put everything on ground, but I would like to review what you have done. So we cannot score him based on this Anambra election.
Exactly. Exactly. We need to go on this quick break, and when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go away.
Right on.
All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. We still have Asukwa James right here with us, and Babajide Kolade Otitoju BKO joining us via Zoom, from Abuja. So, BKO, I'm going to come to you here because the INEC chairman has promised to reduce pre-election litigations. And just like the question I, threw at Asukwa, because some persons have said that they will score the new INEC chair, with the way Anambra election is managed. How do you respond to this?
Well, I need you to stop saying I'm joining you via Zoom.
I wanted to tell you. In Abuja studio.
I am in the beautiful
Abuja studio. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
No design that I can have for my Zoom engagements that can be as beautiful as this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You don't trust your
this is the
your net
studio of TVC. So you see, our concern all along had always been electoral integrity. If we have electoral integrity, people's attitude to elections will improve. And how do we have electoral integrity? When everyone can see that the balloting has taken place in substantial compliance with the letters of the Electoral Act. We need INEC to be very professional on the day. We need security operatives to be exceptionally professional on the day. Nobody should be permitted to buy votes on that day because that is probably the biggest problem confronting us as a people now when it comes to organizing elections. The reforms that have happened in the electoral space have made vote rigging a lot more difficult. In the past, people will go and grab ballot papers from somewhere and do massive ballot stuffing. They will beat up people and steal their votes. They will grab their ballot boxes and run away. That is no longer common. How often do you hear people snatching ballot boxes? Because the beavers especially, and the fact that even the use of incident form has now been effectively outlawed. All of these have helped us to improve electoral integrity. I've got to give kudos to the immediate past INEC chair, because these innovations came. We moved away from the card reader to something much better than the card reader, which is the beavers. And this beavers is technology designed by Nigerians, Nigerian engineers, which is a lot better now. It makes elections. That's why even those figures that we used to see on rainy day, 2 million votes, 1.5 million votes, we are no longer seeing such magical numbers, because electoral integrity has improved. Electoral integrity improved to the point that the ruling APC lost at least 10 states where they had governors in the 2023 presidential election. Those who are averse to the truth will still tell you that that was the worst election. But some of these facts, they do not even know, and they do not bother to know. Where the ruling party loses not less than 10 states in an election, and you still say that election has no integrity, that means you don't know what you're talking about. So we want our elections to continue to improve. We want elections in our country to be carnival-like settings, not an avenue for people to flex their muscles, for people to take to violence. Because we don't see that in other countries. And once we get to a point in which we, before going to any election, we are confident that there will be no vote rigging, that the people's will prevail, honestly, even the quality of leadership in our country will improve, because political leaders will now know that if they do not work for the people, they will be shown the door. That is what we want to see. And every electoral cycle, we should be able to report improvement. If we keep having incremental progress in the area of our elections, honestly, every facet of our life will benefit from it. We'll begin to see good leaders, leaders who will truly work for the people and not simply work for themselves and members of their family.
Okay. All right. Just in rounding off this conversation, talking about the PVC, INEC extended the PVC collection. Will this improve voter turnout?
Well,
in your opinion?
No, it depends. It depends, you know, because I know that 4 years ago, you know, PVCs, people were collecting PVCs. In fact, they had about 2.4 million eligible voters. But at the end of the day, it was just 10% that voted. 10% of that 2.4 million in Anambra, you know. So, and the highest they've even gone was even in 2023. And just like BKO said, then we were having voodoo results from elections, you know. But now, the electoral process has really improved. I think what we should do, we should just, you know, be thanking Professor Yakubu, you know, for the improvements he has, you know, brought into the electoral system. We are not giving that man his flowers, but I think it's something that Nigerians, because if you look at how elections were conducted back then and now, I've gone to election whereby my very kuro, they carried ballot box. You know,
I did.
You know, so, but now you carry the ballot box on your own. You know, because there are ways that, you know, these things, look, at some point we'll get to that point whereby people will begin to respect and honor our electoral process. Now, for the PVCs, we hope that more people will collect these PVCs, not for just collecting and for,
use it for ID card
for to go and collect money in the bank, but for them to be able to go out on election day to cast their votes and choose who they really want, you know, to rule them for another 4 years.
For another 4 years.
You know, we are encouraging all the Anambra people, those who have not collected, you know, to do so, because they've given them another window from now till, you know, Friday.
Yes.
You know, for them to be able to Saturday. Saturday. You know, no, Sunday. So second is on Sunday. For them to do that, and we are hoping that more people will do that, and on election day, we'd want to see the numbers. So many people go out to vote for the candidate of their choice. And INEC should also be able to provide enough security, because we know how that state has been for the past how many years, you know, where non-state actors have, you know, taken over some parts in the state. But we need a situation whereby on election day, people will go out and they'll be safe to go out. Because I remember 4 years ago, one of the problems that we had in Anambra was the issue of insecurity. And it has not really left the state. So we are hoping that this year, people will not be afraid to go out. But people who have collected their PVC will go out, and then they'll be able to vote.
All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to